Hey everybody, welcome back to the Miser's Guide to Evony. In this video, we're going to be doing a feedback video. I'm going to go through somebody's account and take a look at what they have, see areas where they can improve. And that also is pretty valuable to other players that are in the same kind of boat as this player, same kind of size, and it might help you figure out some of the areas that you need to work on as well. So let's get started here. I'm noticing right away that it's a 2.7 billion account. Just gauging by the size of the server, it's probably like top 20 or so. So there's definitely room for improvement when it comes to troop count. We can take a look at troops first by going to the rally spot. Let's see, we've got tier 14 unlocked, which is fantastic. But there's not very much, right? We've got a decent amount of cavalry, but all the other troop counts in the 14s and 13s, they're pretty low. And I mean, that obviously has to do with just the size in general. So of course, troop count is going to be a huge area that needs to be worked on at this size. The more troops you have, the longer you can last with attacking other players or withstand in a defense. So definitely troop count is going to be a big issue here, but the layers are pretty nice at 1 million each. It's just fine. Looks like there's a start to some tier 1 trap there. So working on cavalry or ground, either one works. You just have to kind of make a choice there, but 100 million isn't going to do a whole lot. You need quite a bit more to actually have an effect as a tier 1 trap. So there's definitely growing to do when it comes to troops, but that was expected anyway. Let's look at some other areas. We'll start off just with like a basic glance at the buildings themselves. So it's a keep 36. The player's already overcome the hurdle of getting to keep 36. In terms of all the other buildings, things are about where we would expect them to be. Buildings are 35, 36. The important ones are 36. And some of the other ones are lagging behind a little bit, but not a big deal. We've got Rally Spot. That's one of the first ones you're going to want to get done. Don't really need... Well, before you wouldn't have to worry about Academy, right? Before the most recent update, you wouldn't have to do Academy 36, 37, 38. But now I would definitely recommend getting those done. So you're going to want to get Academy 36 done so that you can unlock some new research. And what do we need here for the next upgrade of the keep? We've already got walls done, Military Academy 1 done. That's fine. So it's just resources. Okay. So in a pretty good position there to increase those. So the big consideration for somebody that's keep 36 is whether you want to be pushing for keep 40 or whether you want to be pushing your size. In this kind of a case, I would personally I chose to go to keep 40, but that's because I have a YouTube channel. But I think it would be more beneficial to work on troops, quite honestly. Maybe keep 37 or so. But when it starts getting to like keep 38, 39, 40, the amount of resources required is really such a huge investment that it really stalls your kingdom for a very long time. So I would probably recommend stopping at keep 37 and just building up troops, because 2.7 billion, if you're only 2.7 billion, you could be building those troops up. You could get to like 5 billion plus instead of working on that keep 40. I mean, you'd go even further with the amount of resources required for that. And you'll be a lot more successful in battlefields and PvP in general if you have that troop count. But if you put into buildings, then you're not going to see a return for a very long time. And the way that keep 45 is set up right now, it's really for heavy spenders. So if you are a heavy spender and you're pushing, then sure, go for the buildings. Or if you're more worried about being attacked, buildings, nobody can take those resources away from you, right? Whereas troops can be killed. But if you're more active and you want to do better in like battlefields and PvP, then you definitely want to be focusing on troops instead. So it's a choice to make. I think it's more fun to go with troops, but if you're thinking of the long term, where things are going to end up, then buildings would be a better choice. But it depends on your own personal goals. Okay, let's look at other stuff. I want to look at research. So you've got Military Academy 1, and building this obviously up is going to be a priority because technology is just such an important aspect of the game. All right. Okay, so you've just gotten started here. Okay. Yeah, so not very far into this. So the feedback that I have here is just, to work on it. You're going to want to work. You won't be able to do these ones because they require Military Academy 6. And yeah, so you can't touch those. But this one is a pretty good one to go down because at Keep 36, one of the struggles that you'll have is a smaller march size than others. And you'll see that in here, there are some march size capacity increases. So going down this tree a little bit to max that out would be really good. But most of these trees are pretty important. So you want to work on all of them, but don't just research at any time. Make sure that you're researching at times that there's an event going on. Right now, there's no event. Right now, it's the Refining and the Blood of Ares, the Trial of Knights. So you want to be doing Ascension during this time. So you can queue something like this, but don't speed it up. Don't dump all of your tactic scrolls during this time. Wait for those events so that you can get rewards. Okay, Academy itself, let's take a look. Okay, this stuff is all done. No problem. Defense, yeah, you've got the important defense stuff. Military, military should be pretty much all complete, which it is. Good. Medical aid. Okay. Medical aid's all done. Alliance, not as important generally. And it's not complete, but that's perfectly fine because unless you're like reinforcing, it's not a really important tree to be working on too much. You've got what you need. Subordinate city, on the other hand, is pretty important. We've got all the in-cities. Yep, we're all good. Okay, perfect. Recovery. It's not a priority tree. It's not bad to have extra Holy Palace capacity and so on, but I wouldn't say it's a priority in comparison to some other ones. Military advance is a priority because there's a lot of buffs for your military here, which you seem to have focused on, and you're okay. Looks good. The only thing you're low on is the training, which is not a priority. Everything's good there. And then defense advance is going to be limited by your academy level, so you might not even be able to get very far. Yeah, you've got what you got. You just need to increase that academy up to 36 and 37, and you'll unlock some more. Okay, so research is looking very well done. We can take a look at where are you at in terms of Wonder. You've got Wonder 2, so you're going to be looking at Wonder 3. So I saw that your medical aid is all done and you're set up, so you're going to be wanting to push for that, or you've already got the Server War 1. So all you need is the Wonder 3, which is the top battlefield ones, and that's really hard to get, especially at 2.7 billion power. It's not really achievable right now. So you are as far as you can be in terms of Wonder at the moment, until you have that real big growth spurt. Okay, how are you doing here? Treasures, everything is good. Yeah, nice. Okay, how about, yeah, that's all done. Out of curiosity here. Quite a bit. Okay, so what can we look at next? Let's look at dragons. You've got 2 of the dragons here. Perfectly fine. You're working on leveling them up. That's good. Let's check out the refinement. So you're using the demon for ranged, it looks like. You're definitely going to want to work on the refinement here. I mean, let's take a look at this. So yeah. See, the demon you're going to be using offensively with archers. And even though you have like a gold quality base, it's not ideal, right? Like flat numbers for defense are great. And for traps, as a defense, great. For siege, because you're often using like tier 11, so flats are great. But generally, you're going to be wanting buffs. And so I'd be reworking all of this to get ranged troop attack percentages. You'll get more out of that if you just have high percentages there. And even if you kept the flat, you definitely need to finish that off with like high percentages instead of siege machine load. Like there's no reason to have that. Let's take a look at your Fafnir. Your Fafnir is a little bit better. We need to work on those refines as well. So you got 13.4 mounted troop attack, a flat, and another flat. Yeah, I would, same thing here. You're going to want percentages for mounted because you're hitting with like tier 13 and 14 generally. And if this is on your boss, then you're going to get a lot more your boss general. Whether it's your PvP or your boss general, you're going to get more out of percentages for mounted. So you're going to want to get that worked on. Let's take a look at these ones. So you have these 2. You don't have that, and you wouldn't have any of those. Okay. So your Norway Ridge, you have it equipped on Elise. So you should be refining this for ground, but you don't really have much for ground. That's another one you need to work on. And this, the Dragon of Thebes, that's more of a defensive one. So like on your wall general, looks like you have it on Jadwiga. This is the one where you could put flats if you wanted. Either flats or percentages are fine. Ground troop HP, sure. Siege machine HP, sure. But those numbers are not that great. They go up to 20% because it's a higher quality dragon. So taking something at 11.9, 12.1, 4.3, you can definitely do better than these. I would definitely re-roll all of these to get closer to that 20%. And you're looking for things like, yeah, ground HP is great. Ground attack is fine. It depends on the troops that you have. Yeah, you just need to improve that in general. And flats are okay for that dragon. Let's take a look at your wall general. Okay, some decent choices for wall general there. And specialty is pretty far along. Siege machine range, mounted troop. Okay. I don't see range bonus. I see siege range bonus, but I don't see archer ranged bonus. So you're going to want to add that on. Probably replace this march size because march size, is not something that you can really use defensively. So I would replace that march size with ranged bonus. Let's take a look at your gear. Where's your general? Okay. Wrong guy. You're not fully equipped here. So you could definitely put on some, you could definitely put on some extra gear to these 2 slots that don't have anything. There's no reason for Leonidas to have any gear. So, I mean, these are something that should be on another general for sure. There's no reason to have anything on him. And she needs to be completely outfitted. So if you're going to be using Jadwiga, you better put a chest piece and some boots on, because, yeah, there's nothing there. That's not good. Refinement is also an issue here. So you have some high quality Civ gear, you got some choreo, you got like some good pieces, but they need to be refined. Like, refining is probably 40% of your defense. Like, you've got the pieces themselves and those are fine, but if they're not refined, then you're missing a whole lot of buffs that you would have otherwise. And you're looking, if you're doing a defensive wall general here, you're looking for really solid flats in terms of HP for like siege and mounted and ground. You're looking for attack flats, maybe siege, ground attack. There's a lot of options depending on your troops. You can go with really almost anything, but you need to have good refines on that wall general. Okay, let's look at your PvP generals now. So from what I remember, because I joined a battlefield with your account, and I think I saw that you had all of the marches except for siege. So you've got archer, you've got ground, you've got cavalry, and then this is a boss cavalry. Okay, you did have a siege. But yeah, it's just not set up. You just don't have the troops for it. That's what it was. Okay. Well, let's check them out. So your Patronus. I can't really click from there because the game doesn't let me. Let's check it out from here. Okay, we're going to go one by one when I find them. Electra, that was your archer, your main archer. And she is looking pretty good in terms of power, in terms of ascension. I remember that we had to work on that dragon's refinement. Let's take a look at your gear. You've started to refine this gear, so you still got a lot of work to do in terms of refining that gear. I mean, I'm seeing about one refine or maybe two on some of these that are worth keeping, but there's a lot of refinement that has to happen. How many refined stones do you have? Maybe that's one of your issues. You don't have enough refinement stones. You've got a lot. So it's gold. Gold is your problem? Yeah, it seems like gold is your problem. Okay. Well, you do what you can, but just know that that is something that you definitely need to work on. Your refinement is going to have a huge impact on your success. Your Martinez, was that your... Yeah, I think that was your general for mounted troops. Not quite as developed in terms of gear and ascension. And same thing with refinement. You got more refines here for sure. But yeah, it's still pretty lacking. That's probably the weakest part of this account, is just the refinement. You really need to focus on refining those important generals. And the good thing about refinement is it's not something that's locked into a general. So say you wanted to change Martinez to another general later, the gear will just swap over. So it's definitely worth investing refinement because it's transferable. At least here, you've got some... Oh, that's an interesting piece. Oh, you probably had this on Martinez originally, and then you swapped it over because you got a piece of civilization gear. Yeah. That seems like what you did. So it's just like a filler. Gotcha. Yep, refinement has to be done on all these. And I mean, it's not going to be different on any of the other guys. Yeah. Okay, so that's definitely the... Other than the troop count, that's your biggest growth area, is just refinement. You're going to improve so much just from refining. Okay, where else? Next. So we've talked about generals, we've talked about troops, we've talked about your gear, we've talked about your technology. Yeah, I think we've covered most of it. Good talents here. Okay, you're on this talent tree. What do you have for your second? This one seems to be your PvP one. I'm not sure that this is the best route that you could be taking. Like, you've got March speed, that's fine. Mortality is great for monsters and stuff. Archer tower, not that useful, but better than nothing. Healing cost, sure. So this is like bosses and PvP. General revival. See, going down this road by mixing your PvP and your boss monster is limiting the track that you take. Like, if you're going all the way down here, this on the right, the subordinate city attack and, you know, in city HP, these are the biggest ones. These are the most important ones that you could pick up, and you're restricting yourself from getting those because you're merging your PvP with your boss monster. And also on both of the trees, neither of them have offering. Free construction is not important. It's really not important. I mean, you definitely want to get offering over that. Getting prestige up and getting your monarch is a lot more important than just 120 seconds on a building. 120 seconds on a building is insignificant. Okay. So I would definitely swap your free construction over to offering. And if this one is your one where you do like building and training and that sort of thing, then you probably, let's see. That's good. Yeah, that's fine. Resource critical, good. Training speed. Okay. Yeah, I mean, aside from the first one, the rest of it is fine. This one I'm worried about, though. Since this seems to be like your one where you want to do PvP or monsters, what I would recommend is, instead of March speed, do offering. March speed is good, but 10% is not going to make a huge difference, whereas an extra whatever percent that ends up being, 20%, I think. 20% offering over a long period is a lot more beneficial than just a little bit faster March speed. So I would go offering here, mortality. Sure, you could stay with Archer Tower. You could stay with healing cost. But then at this point, I would go over to resource plunder, which is not useful. But you only do that so that you can get over to subordinate city troop attack. So skip the stamina regeneration and general revival to work your way over to subordinate city attack. And then from there, you might do gathering boosts. And I mean, if you don't want gathering boost and you really want the hospital capacity, then you could do training speed and then hospital capacity. But you just definitely want to branch over to get subordinate city attack because it's so important. And then when you get hospital capacity or whatever you choose here, then you get your in-city HP, and then your subordinate city HP, and then in-city attack. You'll get more benefit there. Okay. What else can we look at here? Let's look at your subordinate cities. You are on America right now. I'm not sure why. Maybe you're trying to get a bunch of research, but you have, I mean, you got some good ones. You got some nice Japans. You got China's, which generally are not the more important one. I like them to do some troop training, and they do give you some extra resource production. But if you have China's and you're worried about resource production, yeah, okay. You've got that on, so that's good. But you definitely want to replace those Americas. Like, you can change this one just by changing our culture. And this one I would trade off with somebody else to get something a little more useful for PvP. But you could keep it in the short term to do some research too. You've got a lot of research to do between your academy and your military academy. So you could keep that, but long term, you're going to be looking to swap that out for something more useful. Okay. We can look at your blazons. Okay, they look partially developed here. So you've got this set up for increases on monsters, right? You got like a 2-piece and a 4-piece going on, but I would recommend just going 4-piece and having it on the one that is more important to you. Like, if you want increases on monsters, and go 6-piece on that. Make sure you're filling out that 6-piece set bonus. If you're doing the opposite and you're doing PvP, like this one, when attacking, you should have a 6-piece bonus here. The 6-piece bonuses are just so much stronger. So you definitely want to get those. And I'm guessing here you did the 2-4 again. Yeah. So you are getting the debuff. You know, actually, it's not a terrible idea for your size because you're not doing a whole lot of attacking. But you are doing a lot of defending. No, but these are attacking buffs, so I don't know what I'm talking about here. Yeah, you want to get the 6-piece bonus. No question there. Drop those ones, the 2-4 style, and go and get that 6-piece bonus. Okay. Yeah, I hope you haven't worked on this ideal land. Oh yeah. So you put in a lot into this thing and you are not able to upgrade it yet. It doesn't seem like you have enough. Yeah, that's the problem with ideal land. Can you upgrade this thing? God, there's pop-ups in this game. Yep, you're at 450, so you wasted all those gems. But eventually you will get a building that will allow you to get there, but man, yeah, I hate that. Ideal land is so dumb. Council Estate, you're up to 6. But you can upgrade that further. In fact, it's free. I'm just going to do it for you. Free. Okay. And you can upgrade it further, and then you can put in a general here that you don't need. I don't know who your secondary was, but who was it? Who were you using? Were you using Charles? Oops. Yeah, Electra and Charles. So I saw a Minamoto there. So now I'm going to drop your Minamoto into this position because it does have 5 stars. Oh, we could do Kaguya as well. All right, and there's a couple extra buffs. And then this one is unlocked at level 10. So I'm not sure if you can get to level 10 just yet. Okay. You might be able to. Okay. Well, I don't know. There's only 2 more to go. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make the decision here. 16 gems. All right. So what you're missing is Victory Column level 2, and then you'll be able to unlock the Siege one. And that one you're not ready for either. Okay. No problem. So we've done what we can. We've unlocked that extra piece. right. Anything else that we can look at? Okay, so in summary, this account needs to make a decision on whether to increase troops or to work on buildings. Now, my personal preference here would be to work on troops for a while. If you're already at keep 36, keep 37, maybe take a little bit of time, take like 5-6 months, and just work on troops. You're only 2.7 billion power, and just from the opponents that you were facing in the battlefield that I joined, if you could increase that to like 5 billion, you'll last longer in attacks and you will last longer in defenses. So it's going to be a significant improvement in terms of the account. Now, the other piece that you're really missing is refinement. You really need to work on refinement. That is the hugest issue right now with this account. I mean, there's other things too, like choosing the right subordinate cities and making sure that those subordinate cities, the duty officers on those subordinate cities have appropriate gear, and it does look like you do. But if you don't have refinement on your wall general that's built up and on your main PvP generals, you are lacking severely in terms of effectiveness in attacks and defense. So that is a huge growth area. That's probably the number one priority, even more than the troop count. Aside from that, I mean, there's a good availability of civilization gear, of generals, of really quite a bit of value in this account. It just needs to be tweaked a little bit in terms of refinement and troop count to be more effective. Okay, that's it for this video. See you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching this video and supporting the channel. If you liked what you saw, please consider hitting the like button and checking out other videos on The Miser's Guide to Evony. I'll see you in the next video.